Everyone's celebrating Swiss big blockchain announcement. They see partnerships with Consensus, Chainlink, even whispers of stablecoins. They think this means crypto has won. They're wrong. What Swiss just revealed isn't about opening doors. It's about tightening control. And if you don't understand that, you're already playing the wrong game.
Let's start at the top. SWIFT, the global backbone of cross-border payments for more than 11,000 banks, just unveiled its own blockchain-based ledger. This isn't a rumor, it's official. SWIFT is building distributed ledger infrastructure with Consensus, the Ethereum powerhouse behind MetaMask and Linea, and Chainlink, the Oracle network trusted by nearly every DeFi protocol. Together, they're designing a system for on-chain messaging, validation, and settlement. For years, the assumption was simple: decentralized systems like the XRP ledger would replace SWIFT. Why? Because they're faster, cheaper, and borderless. But SWIFT just flipped the script. It's not fading away, it's adapting. Crypto journalist Gregory Raymond confirmed on X, Linea was chosen by SWIFT for its on-chain messaging. In plain English, Ethereum tech is now embedded directly into SWIFT's rails. This isn't theory anymore, it's happening. Here's where the story cuts deep for XRP investors. For over a decade, Ripple has pitched XRP as the ultimate solution for cross-border settlement. Fast, scalable, liquid. And to be fair, they've built an impressive network of banks and remittance corridors. The XRP army has always believed RippleNet's on-demand liquidity would be the system global finance eventually runs on. But in SWIFT's blockchain announcement, XRP wasn't mentioned once. That silence speaks louder than words. It suggests SWIFT is betting on its own rails, not Ripple's. One crypto analyst on X put it bluntly: Linea, SWIFT, is just a messaging system. One bank giving instructions to another. It's not built for retail. It's built to keep banks in control. And that's the key point. Linea isn't about disintermediation. It's about control. SWIFT isn't joining the revolution. It's building a walled garden. Even more telling, Linea comes from Consensus, the same entity tied to Ethereum, USDC, PayPal's stablecoin, and a vast chunk of DeFi infrastructure. Add in Chainlink's oracles, already securing trillions in transaction value across DeFi, and you see the picture. SWIFT is aligning with the biggest liquidity engines outside Bitcoin. Ripple may have innovation, but SWIFT is embedding itself into Ethereum's gravity well. Now, if you watched our earlier Wealthy Wise episode, Why Banks Fear XRP, you'll remember the reason banks resist Ripple. Neutrality. XRP is a neutral bridge asset. It isn't owned by any single government or banking cartel. In a world where trust in the US dollar system is fragmenting, that neutrality is threatening. Because if banks adopt XRP wholesale, they hand Ripple, and by extension, retail XRP holders, leverage over global liquidity. That's unacceptable to institutions who've controlled payments for half a century. So instead of plugging into Ripple's system, SWIFT is building its own. It's not that XRP doesn't work. It's that XRP gives too much power away. Let's zoom out. SWIFT processes quadrillions of dollars annually. To put that in perspective, that's hundreds of times more than the entire crypto market cap. If SWIFT were to simply adopt Ripple's solution wholesale, it would risk making Ripple a competitor too powerful to contain. No incumbent ever willingly cedes control like that. So what do they do instead? They build their own system, one that's private, permissioned, and under their governance. But here's the trick. SWIFT has emphasized that this new blockchain ledger will be interoperable, meaning it's designed to connect with public networks, XRP included, but only when and how SWIFT decides. Think of it like Apple's App Store. Sure, you can build your own app, you can even publish it. But at the end of the day, Apple sets the rules. Apple controls access, and Apple takes a cut. SWIFT is positioning itself as the iOS of global payments. XRP stablecoins, DeFi protocols. They might plug in, but SWIFT will remain the gatekeeper. So why is this happening now? The answer lies in macro trends too big to ignore. Stablecoins are no longer niche. Tether, USDT, alone moves more volume than Visa. USDC, backed by Circle and Coinbase, is embedded into US financial plumbing. Even PayPal has launched its own dollar-backed stablecoin. And don't forget politics. World Liberty Financial, tied to Trump's Circle, is preparing its own stablecoin. Meanwhile, Asian giants are doubling down on eCNY and regional CBDCs. In short, fiat on blockchain is no longer theory, it's the new battleground. At the same time, regulators are finally aligning. The SEC has withdrawn multiple ETF delays, including XRP, signaling a green light for a wave of altcoin ETFs. A comprehensive market structure bill is also expected by year-end. Even the US Treasury is warming up to stablecoins, recognizing them as potential buyers of government debt. For banks, this isn't optional anymore. It's existential. Either modernize or risk irrelevance. SWIFT knows this. That's why it's moving now. Now, let's pause for a moment. Because if you've been listening closely, one theme should be crystal clear. Timing and access are everything. That's exactly where UNIC comes in. UNIC isn't just another exchange. It's a decentralized OTC platform that's already pushed more than $1.3 billion in trading volume. With 5.5 million plus active users and strategic partnerships spanning Kima Network, GT Protocol, Script Network, and Re.Pay, UNIC is rewriting how early access works in crypto. From pre-market OTC to pre-order systems, they've built tools that let you catch deals before they hit centralized exchanges. That edge, the edge of being early, is exactly what institutions fight tooth and nail to preserve. This is not financial advice, but if you want to explore how early access works, check the link in the description. So where does all this leave XRP? On one side, you have SWIFT, the entrenched incumbent, defending its empire by co-opting Ethereum tech and embedding Chainlink's Oracle layer. On the other, you have Ripple, leaner, faster, already running real corridors for remittances and global money flows. Former Ripple director Sean McBride recently stated that XRP's value is 10 times greater than Link's, precisely because XRP isn't just an Oracle feed, it's a settlement layer. It moves value, not just data. And for years, Ripple has proven that with on-demand liquidity pilots and real adoption across Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. But here's the cold reality. Value doesn't guarantee adoption. Banks don't always choose the best tech. They choose the tech that keeps them in control. SWIFT's blockchain ledger is a defensive wall, a system built not for efficiency alone, but for power preservation. Still, don't count Ripple out, because where SWIFT builds walls, Ripple builds bridges. And in markets where trust in SWIFT has collapsed, like Russia, which has sworn off SWIFT forever, Ripple's neutrality and XRP's borderless liquidity may be the only path forward. Zoom out even further. This isn't just Ripple versus SWIFT. It's old finance versus new rails. History is brutal to incumbents. Kodak invented the digital camera, then buried it to protect film. They died anyway. Blockbuster laughed at Netflix, then watched their empire collapse. Incumbents rarely innovate fast enough because they're shackled by the very power they're trying to defend. SWIFT today is Kodak. It has scale, yes, but scale without agility is dead weight. Ripple, meanwhile, is small enough to move fast, neutral enough to bridge fragmented markets, and stubborn enough to fight regulators head-on. And let's not ignore the geopolitical layer. Trust in US-centric financial systems is eroding. Sanctions weaponized SWIFT, turning it into a political tool. That weaponization created cracks in global trust, cracks where neutral settlement layers like XRP can thrive. So yes, SWIFT is moving fast. But speed born of fear rarely beats innovation born of necessity. Now, before we wrap, let's return to a project that mirrors this entire dynamic. Because what Ripple and Swift are fighting over, early access, liquidity, control, is the exact space Unic is opening to retail investors. Unic's upcoming IDO isn't just a token launch, backed by a legal entity, and designed with referral rewards and NFT perks to supercharge early adoption. Their low FDV Unic's token creates asymmetric upside for those who understand timing. Again, this is not financial advice, but if you want to see how early access works when the rules are stacked against retail, check the link in the description. Let me ask you, will Swift's blockchain save the empire, or will it be the very wall that collapses under its own weight, opening the door for XRP and other neutral assets to dominate? Drop your opinion in the comments below. And if you want to keep getting these no-fluff breakdowns from a trader who's been around long enough to know how incumbents play this game, hit subscribe to Wealthy Wise. We're not here to hype. We're here to tell you what they don't want you to see. Stay sharp, stay smart.